Hello and welcome to Gierok Farms. In today's video we are going to be going and processing some firewood. Mom and Dad, they've been working on clearing a portion of our farm to extend one of our fields slash pastures. Today we're going to dice up some of those logs and turn it into firewood. Dad's getting the chainsaw all sharpened up, the 660. I'm going to grab some fuel. We're also bringing the mid-size saw. So it should be fun. Nice weather out today, cooler. Should be fun to work in that. So we have the saws ready to go, loaded up on the four-wheeler. We got the big one in the back. Dad has taken the new skid steer along with our big aggressive grapple and our wood splitter up on the hill right now. I'm gonna take the four-wheeler. Shortly here we'll be cutting up some wood. This has been one of the main jobs of the newer skid steer, taking it up, processing firewood, things like that, moving logs, along with moving our big straw bales and round bales. Otherwise, we try to keep that guy out of the manure, try to keep that one clean, keep that one nice for now. But it'll be exciting to use that newer skid steer, especially with the wood splitter. Our older skid steer didn't have enough flow to run that splitter, so I think this will be the first time trying it out with this new one, so that should be exciting. See what that does for us. The dairy herd's just relaxing here on this nice fall afternoon. We got some of our heifers and dry cows on the other side of the pasture now, closer to the farmyard, unlike a couple months ago. They were on the way back side of the farm. There's our stadium, that project from last year. That turned out really nice. Beautiful. And here's the pond project. That grass is really growing in. Already starting to fill up with all that rain we've been having. Our waterways are holding up. And even below the pond here looks really nice. I think we had just enough time for everything to get established before we got this wet fall. It worked out wonderfully.
It says here, it says something on this tree. I think that's one of his first prom dates here. Sacrificed a tree. Big old white oak. Didn't Mason use this too? Yeah, but I think Mason he took advantage of that, took his girl up here.
Now I made that probably 15, so a long time
15, and maybe Mason started again. Or he did it somewhere.
We figured we'd put that in there, see if my wife recognizes it. But we made it up here. This is where Mom and Dad have been clearing, making a little extra usable land, extending our hayfield here / pasture. And the plan is, according to Dad, that we are gonna put a wood pile here in the corner so that we can still crop here in the spring. It's nice and tucked out of the way for the future. It'll be a nice reservoir up here once it dries. Now that we got some of the outer of the pile cut, Dad's gonna use the skid steer, kind of pull it apart. Some of these logs he's gonna save for saw logs, and if they don't turn into saw logs, then we'll just cut them up later for firewood. But any of the straighter, nicer stuff, he's trying to save. And then any of the crooked stuff, we're gonna cut up for firewood right away.
The pile looks bigger than it is. chain falls off. And I think what happens is the sprocket is getting wore down, so it starts to crawl off and there's a little pressure. Too much cutting with the nose. And it's nearly impossible to cut brush like that, and especially a long bar. It just gets to be too much slack. Won't be the last time.
Okay, we've made our way through the first pile that was closest to this corner here. And now we're grabbing from that further pile, bringing it here. Dad's picking out what he wants for lumber logs to leave yet, some nicer, straighter stuff, and then the rest we're cutting up into firewood. This batch of logs will mainly get cut up and processed for a log pile. Not a whole lot of this is gonna get used for firewood. It's some pretty straight stuff. All this smaller stuff will probably get cut up, but that big stuff, that's probably going in the pile. We are getting down to the final stretch here. Moved on to the third and final pile, the smaller one. Just look at the difference here. Really coming together, really moving through this stuff. Finished cutting up the wood and picking out some saw logs here for Dad. And you want to talk a little bit about some of the unique pieces we were able to get out of this.
No, we got pretty much cherry. I don't know if they call that black cherry. To get a, you know, cherry and hickory. Cherry, to get a piece this big that's good all the way through, is very rare. That surprises me. There's always a hole started. Once they get past a foot, they just get questionable, and they get crooked, very crooked. They almost grow like a snake. And then the hickory, I've noticed, because I've cut a lot of stuff off, but even if they're not leaning a lot, if you don't got your hinge just right, end up splitting. You end up with a crack in them. There's a couple larger pieces where I got a part of a crack. Now, I suppose it's how you saw them. If we saw them right, we could probably salvage quite a bit of that. But, you know, like here, that's a cherry, but still, you get that. But it's veneer. Even short pieces, if they're wide and they're healthy otherwise, I mean, that, if it was for construction lumber, well, it's got to be a pretty good sized log to make sense.
Yeah, so for novice wood in this area of the world, not a lot of it gets used for construction unless you were doing something personally, you know, like building like a little shed or something. Most of your construction lumber comes out of these big pine and spruce logs out west, and that's where
Up north.
Yeah, that's where you're getting your big 2x4s, and you know,
more of that, just more of this construction
your
lumber.
soft lumber. And then this is stuff that a guy would make like a furniture out of, or a dining room table, or
Oh, yeah.
a nice mantle or something.
Or flooring, like a hickory flooring.
Yeah,
And
that's
what I-
becoming really popular. Even maple, I heard, is becoming really popular for flooring now too.
So when I was growing up, red oak was kind of like the, yeah, if you could put oak, have oak in your house and the trim and the doors and all that, that was kind of, and then it kind of turned the corner to like, because I remember the loggers, they would leave the whites a lot of times. Maybe they would go for railroad ties or something. And then it kind of turned where white oak got to be kind of a niche because it was different. You know, and then again, like you said, the hickory flooring, it can really, because you got a two-tone look. And as the tree grows, you got your sap layer way out here, but you see how you got your white and your dark inside. So you get that, you know, that color going. And I think people are just looking for something different, and it's very hard and heavy. So it works good for that. Cherry, of course, more for furniture type stuff. I've always, my favorite wood to work with when I did furniture stuff. We got a pretty good pile here, and I think what happens, because this is kind of the edge of a field, the east side, they grow faster.
Yeah, it's an appealing environment for them to be in. Not a lot of competition.
Right, and their roots stretch out into your field. I don't even think we realize it, but you know, so we manure, and the cattle manure it and stuff too. The roots are all feeding off of that. Where if you really look now, once you cut the edge away and you look in, big gaps between the really nice trees, simply because they were starving for sunlight and nutrients, unlike the ones on the edges. So anyway, once the tie cutters took it out, and this area was tied, I believe, back in '98, spring of 90, no, not 90, yeah, 98, and that's a long time. So that's 25 years of these trees that weren't big enough then to make better trees.
Yeah, so there's a little different video for you guys compared to our normal agriculture stuff, but it's been a while. And then I know one of the comments we're gonna get is, where's your new saw at, for the people that follow our lumber stuff and our logging stuff.
My sawmill is probably in pieces all over the world yet. They're selling them as they build them. They said April, and the way everything's been going, I'm expecting June. But it's exciting. It's something different for us. And
then another question, chainsaws. People are gonna ask where that 500 is.
Oh, the 500, well, I had a boo-boo with it, and that happens when you use them. The handle got bent for me, kind of doing what we're doing here, where I was probably moving some log, and it ended up bumped it a little bit, and it wasn't really much. I noticed the handle was bent slightly, so I took it off and put it in the vise to pull it straight, and then it broke. And it's really thin, and I don't know, they make the saw lighter. I've had it happen to my 660 and my 38 Magnum, and had done the same thing, and I could bend it back and still make it work. You know, it's just things like that are gonna happen when you, so even like today now, and more because you're here, so when I'm doing this thing with the skid steer and I'm moving that big long piece, you can take somebody out pretty quick.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch out.
So everybody's got to kind of have their head up, and then when I drop the log too or set it down, it likes to turn. Those kind of things is what gets good loggers. Was this past year, there was a guy that was a veteran logger. He was good. Everyone said he was good. He got killed by cutting a tree somewhere, and it just a bizarre thing happened to kick back or something that you never expect. They claim it's the most dangerous profession, far as
for sure, one of them. Yeah, but that's gonna be it for the video. We're gonna head back down to the yard now. So let us know in the comments what you thought of our project today. If you want to see more of this stuff, and what you think of the sawmill to come, let us know down in the comments, and share it, like the videos, comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate that, and
we'll hopefully when it comes that time to go get it, or we'll be videoing.
Yeah, we'll be documenting it.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for all that, and we'll see you guys next time.